if you don't have your basic needs met, you can't learn. You can't.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, this summer, I have spent more time reaching out to politicians to try to emphasize that those basic needs have to be met first because of exactly what you said. If a child is hungry, hasn't slept well, hasn't eaten, they have a very difficult time trying to learn anything. And yet those politicians are some of the worst judges of what successful education is. And that can be very frustrating.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Michelle Gill. Michelle is the superintendent at Pine River Area Schools in Leroy, Michigan. And we are so happy to have you here, Michelle.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about Pine River Area Schools and what's going on there.
Pine River Area Schools is a very rural school district in mid-Michigan, and it has 302 square miles over 3 different counties, so it makes it a little challenging at times. Our region is a very caring and concerned community, so we have a Pine River family. Our whole community is family to us, so we really focus on doing what's best for kids and meeting the many, many needs of our students. And I'm happy to be here. It has actually lived up to my expectations, which can be very high. So I'm pleased that my time here as superintendent, this is my 3rd school year that I'm in here as superintendent, and I'm really pleased that it's working out well. The kids are great. You know, we all have challenges, but we're excited to do our best to educate and care for our students.
So what brought you to Leroy? You told me you lived quite a bit up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So
Right.
in Michigan, if you live below the bridge, we're called trolls. So I asked her at the beginning, I was like, why did you join the trolls? What made you move? So
Right. Well, I love being a Youper, and that's what they call people of the Upper Peninsula. And there's many, many wonderful things about the Upper Peninsula. But my husband and I had both been there most of our lives. And as a superintendent, incomes are lower in the Upper Peninsula. So we were interested in a new adventure and interested in upping my income too, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, that works. Absolutely. So, so you got there, and what kinds of challenges did you face?
Well, the first challenge was housing. Not even before I got here. In 2023 is when I started here at Pine River, and there were very few homes for sale. So finding a house was difficult. I did not find one in district. I found one in Cadillac. And that is currently for sale. As my husband is a teacher, but he's also a builder. So he built us a house, and we're on the verge of moving into it here in Leroy. So soon we'll be in district. And I forgot what question you asked
No,
me.
I was just, yeah. What the challenges that you faced. You said you had
the challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, coming to a totally new community where I know no one. The biggest challenge is having me get to know our community and for the community to get to know me. So that was the initial challenge. And I'm really good with names, but when you have to meet 800 plus students and 100 plus employees and then community members and board members, it's really difficult to get to know people on a name basis, because there's just so many names to try to learn.
Are you getting there, though? 3 years later, you getting there?
Slowly.
Yeah.
I know all the staff, and I know some of the students. And really, the students that came up to me in the beginning and introduced themselves to me, I never forgot them. But not, very few of them actually come up and say, "Hi, Mrs. Gill, I'm so-and-so."
Right.
But yeah, I'll never forget the ones who did.
Awesome.
I really appreciated that.
So, but you guys have had some interesting programs that you're running in your school. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, one that I'm super proud of is a leadership class that our music director is in charge of. And so we have 27 students this semester who are part of what we call leadership, and they are learning how to be leaders. They are learning through serving, and they do a wide variety of things. And the latest was for homecoming. They're really good at amping up the spirit levels during homecoming week. And this was just last Friday. And of course, at 6 a.m. on homecoming, we had no power.
Oh no.
And so, yes, so not only was myself and my admin team going crazy trying to figure out what's going on. Are we going to be able to have homecoming? Do we have school? Do we have to cancel? It's already past our cancellation time. What do we do? It was just a really intense Friday morning. So our leadership team was able to be super flexible and accommodate different time changes. And we did end up having our parade in the afternoon. We did have to cancel school. We did end up having our football game and then our dance the next day, but it was pretty stressful from 6 a.m. to noon, and trying to figure out, are we going to have power? Are we not going to have power? Do we have the parade? Do we have the game? Can we let kids in the school to get their band instruments? We don't have any lights, so we
Wow.
had emergency lighting brought in and porta potties and, the whole
Wow.
gamut. But it was a
Wow.
beautiful day. It worked out really well, and everybody pulled together to make it all happen. So it was awesome. So
Awesome.
that was just one little thing that they
Mm-hmm.
helped with.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things that really struck me, one program that they did, which they won an award for, was called Words Hurt. And they did a day where every time they heard something negative, like heard a student call another student a name or something like that, one of the leadership kids would put on a physical injury, like a Band-Aid or a brace or, different visual objects
Oh,
that you
uh-huh.
could
Mm-hmm.
see so that the rest of the population of students could visually see how those injuries are occurring just from
Mm-hmm.
words that they're
Mm-hmm.
hearing. And it was very, very impactful. And they're not going to do this every year because they don't want to dull the
Right.
impact of it. But
Mm-hmm.
they are going to do it every so often, maybe every other year or every third year, so that students can continue to visually see the impact of what those tiny little words can do negatively
Mm-hmm.
to their fellow classmates. So that was really cool. And they,
Wow.
they
Yeah.
tend to do an SEL type activity every year. So that was one that was done last winter, and it was very
Yeah, and
impactful.
SEL, for those of you that don't know, is social emotional learning. So we love
Yes.
our acronyms. I forgot to tell you that.
Uh,
If
yeah,
there's
there's
the
so
other thing
many.
I will say, yeah, there are a lot. The other thing I will say is that today is October 7th, 2025. So it'll probably be beginning of December, probably before this comes out. So I always try
Okay.
to tell people, hey, we're talking about homecoming because it's October, but it
Right.
will be almost Christmas by the time it won't be Christmas, but it will be in December before the podcast goes live. So
Okay.
I always try to make sure that people know what we're talking about and understand. And so go continue. Please tell me about the SEL activity. I'd love to hear about it.
Well, that words hurt is one of them.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And I have a whole bunch of other things that they do too. They organize campaigns to feed many of our families for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh,
So
neat.
there's fundraisers, there's food drives, there's penny wars, there's all sorts of different things that our leadership team does. They also do a Christmas night out. So they do the student management and send parents out to do their shopping, which is, free daycare is an awesome thing. And kids love it. Our leadership team also goes to our elementary school and our middle school to help out with different activities, whether it's reading or just playing on the
Mm-hmm.
playground with kids at recess. We do well, this isn't necessarily leadership, but we do, I forgot what it's called. Our band, our marching band goes to the elementary school and performs walking down the hallway, performs the fight song going down the hallway, and select students and staff get to march with them in the lineup. So that's a big like award type
Neat.
incentive for kids to be able to march with the marching band at the elementary school.
Love that.
Let's see. Our leadership has been instrumental in helping us recycle more. So we've had paper recycling in the past, but now we have paper, plastic, and aluminum that were started just this year. So we're happy about that. Um,
Awesome.
well, for SEL, they do a monthly awareness bulletin board. So it could be for a specific cause, or it could be
Mm-hmm.
announcing something fun, like they did homecoming, of course, but they also
Mm-hmm.
do other things like make sure you're drinking enough water and how much water is enough, different health related things as well. They also
Neat.
keep our girls' bathrooms stocked with feminine supplies, which might seem insignificant, but with the prices of everything going up so much, they're very much utilized by our kids.
Awesome.
Let's see what else they do. They go through the newspaper and cut out all the articles that relate to our school district and our students in particular. And they just do all sorts of different things
Amazing.
to prove their leadership and learn about leadership. At our school assemblies, they usually run the assemblies, so they're speaking in front of their whole entire high school. They're managing events and decorating for events and all sorts of different things. Yeah.
Very
Oh,
neat.
they
So
also they
I
also do.
bet some of those. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, as one last one. They also receive requests from staff. So they have a staff to-do list. So if a staff member needs them to help with anything, really, whether it's copying or cutting out something or reading the kids or whatever, they take
Mm-hmm.
requests from all of our staff and then try to fulfill those needs as well.
Neat. Well, these are probably some of the kids that came up and introduced themselves when you started, I bet, huh?
Yes. Yeah. One in
Absolutely.
particular I'm thinking of right now. Yes.
Wow. That's incredible. Wow. So, what other things, so you are going on, in like maybe the elementary school or I know budgets are always an issue. Are you guys having, there were some notes
Uh,
about that being an issue.
Yeah, that's a whole big thing we can talk about if you want to too.
Sure. Yeah,
But before we get to that, I'll mention the elementary you just
sure.
asked about, like what might be going on that's cool at the elementary. Once a quarter, I believe it is, we have a clubs day. So on clubs day, it gives kids the afternoon, and it might only be 1 or 2 hours, that they get to try all sorts of different activities.
Oh,
And
okay.
it could be archery, it could be sewing, it could be makeup or hair, Legos, Play-Doh. I mean, a whole big variety of things to do. And last Friday was clubs, um, I think, or did it get rescheduled? I can't remember if it was last Friday or the Friday before. And anyway, I popped over there because the principal invited me over. So I popped over to check things out. And it was so fun. I ended up spending part of my time with a bunch of kids in the makeup room. And so they were getting their hair done. And I said, "Oh, I know how to French braid." So they set me up and I French braided like 6 different girls' hairs. And then we had glitter spray to put in their
Oh,
hair and stuff.
fun.
So it was super fun.
Yeah. And how cool is that for an elementary school child to
Yeah,
get her hair braided by the superintendent of the
right.
schools? That's
And
amazing. Yeah, I bet
they
they
don't
love
always
that.
know what the superintendent means. So I try to tell them that I'm
Hmm.
their principal's boss. I'm Mr. DeVos's
Hmm.
boss. They're like, wow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But we're a family business, and my husband always laughs because he's like, "Can I retire now?" And I'm like, "No, your boss won't let you." And that would be me.
Right. Yes.
So, not yet, darling, not yet. Give us another
Yeah.
8 years
Yeah.
or so. He's like, "But I'm ready right now." And I'm like, "No, you're not."
Not quite yet.
So, not quite yet. Not quite yet. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's talk a little bit, just a little bit. Let's touch on budgets and,
Okay.
what's happening in Michigan. So, because these are things that I think the nation needs to know. I mean, it's not, they talk about test scores and about, whatever, and they are attacking our
Mhm.
teachers and attacking our schools, but they don't realize, and, it's like, what is going on? And
Right.
the amount of work that goes on even with the constraints of budgets and, so let's touch it.
Okay. So I'm going to back up to last spring,
Sure.
because we last school year, we were looking at having to cut $1 million from our budget. And part of the problem was that we didn't have all of our budget allocations given to us until the end of April. So in March, we were ready to lay off staff. And then we waited a little bit longer because we knew more info was coming. And so finally, by the end of April, we received all of our funding and we tightened up our budget a little bit more. And because of that, we didn't have to cut as much. So we did not lay off anyone. We just ended up um, reducing through attrition and making some minor adjustments. So we reduced about 400,000, and that was great. Everybody was happy with that. Excuse me. So then
Nice.
this year, we are required to pass our budget for 25-26 by June 30th. The
Hmm.
state of Michigan is also required to do the same thing, but they did not. So we started the school year with no budget at all. And even not only nationally, but I would say probably the majority of Michigan residents did not know that schools don't have a budget. We still, to this day, do not have a budget. It is October 7th.
Right.
So that has put us in a very difficult position. There are some districts that receive some of their funding in July, their tax-based funding in
Hmm.
July, and there are many others who don't receive any until December. So we're one of the districts that doesn't receive any funding from our tax base until December. So what do you do then when you have no money coming in July, August, September, October, November, December? And it's late December that we get ours, late December, early January.
6 months,
So,
half the year. That's half the year.
right. So everyone who has the December tax payments really has been put in a position of looking at other financing in order to make payroll. Now,
Mm.
our particular district is able to get through October. Normally, we would receive an October 20th state aid payment, which is in question right now because even though the Republicans and Democrats have agreed on a budget proposal just a couple days ago on October 3rd, the governor hasn't signed it yet. So she is
Mm.
supposed to sign it by tomorrow. I hope she does, because that
Yeah.
would theoretically allow enough time for us to still receive our October 20th state aid payment. Either way, we are good through October. We have enough funding set aside that's accessible to be able to make all our payrolls through October. However, November is a different story. So if we don't get that October 20th state aid payment, our options are to get a high interest bank loan. There are
Yeah.
very few other
And then
options.
you're throwing tax money right out the window on
Right.
interest
And
payments to a bank. Yeah.
yes, and the state will not refund us any money for the interest that they caused us to have to pay. They're
Wow.
they missed their second legal deadline on October 1st. They had July 1st and October 1st, and they've missed both of those deadlines. So, as far as Michigan, schools still don't have a budget.
Wow.
And it is not fair to our students, our staff, our administration. It's not fair to anyone.
No.
And a lot of the community doesn't understand that we're all in that position right now.
Wow.
Hopefully in Michigan, we will soon be resolved. And then you look at the federal level, and that's a whole nother ball game because I don't know when they will ever settle.
Occupational therapy shouldn't be one more thing on your plate. It should be a solution. Lighthouse Therapy offers school-based occupational therapy services that actually work for you and your staff. Our OTs have an average of 16 years of experience in schools, and they support everything from handwriting to fine motor to sensory integration. And you can choose from 3 different service models, whether it be virtual, hybrid, or in person. It's OT that fits your workflow without the chaos. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn more. Yeah.
And that's extremely concerning as well.
Yeah, right. Because so right now we're, and who knows what in 2 months, the government's in shutdown. And I think it's day 6 or 7.
7. It's the 7th today. Yeah.
7th day of the shutdown. So, and
right.
it drives me crazy because the politics is the problem, not the people. You know, the real harm that is happening is the effect that this is having on American citizens. And when you put politics in front of people, that's a problem. And it's as far as I will go because, you know, it is, there's all kinds of arguments on both sides of the aisle, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Human beings need to come before politics, and it doesn't. And that makes me sad. And kids need to come before politics, and you know, the teachers that are working and doing the work day in and day out, they need to be paid. They need to be paid.
They do.
And, yeah.
Right.
One thing that I always said when I started this business is you just don't, as a business owner, you know, and I'm a business owner. I'm not an elected official, and I don't work for the schools, but I contract with schools. But you don't mess with people's money. You know, if you want loyal employees, if you want people that will stick with you year after year after year, and we have many, I learned very early on, and in management and in leadership, is you have to take care and let people know that, yes, you will get paid, and you will get paid on time, because they are planning. And too many in our society, I think, what is it, over 30%? I don't even know. I'm pulling that out of my brain from who knows where. Live paycheck to paycheck, and it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, you know, and you live paycheck to paycheck. You live paycheck to paycheck, and if you miss a paycheck, that's a problem. And somebody said, you know, most Americans are like 2 or 3 missed paycheck from being homeless. And it's like, that is not okay. We need to take care of our people. And when they do stuff like that, it's, you know, so I hope that politicians hear this and go, you know, look at what you're doing. Look at, and I don't know that they'll hear us, but we can talk about it and put it in front of the people that don't know. And if someone's listening to this podcast, hopefully somebody that didn't know what was going on, because what happens mostly is people like you get blamed, right? You're the superintendent, you're the leader. Why aren't you paying your people? Or why aren't you doing whatever it is you're doing? And they don't understand or even dig below the surface at all. You know, they just want to say schools are failing. And then they don't understand that, no, they're not. They're doing everything they can, but you have to take care of the finances of the school. You have to stop measuring schools based on one test score. That drives me crazy as well. Nobody else gets measured on one test score. You have to pay for every single student that's in the school instead of the number of schools that are in the student for one day. It's so upside down and backwards, and people just don't realize that.
It is. And the whole free meals situation too. Like in our district, because it is rural and poverty area, our school meals are often the only meals that some
Mm-hmm.
kids get.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself, and I mean, when I'm talking to legislators, I try to imagine you as a child or an adult going through your whole day with no food
Mm-hmm.
and your night. Because
Yeah.
when you get home, guess what? You might be living in a shack. You might be living in a trailer with no heat or
Mm-hmm.
water. We have a lot of students like this. I
Yeah.
was just at a superintendent's meeting Monday, and the McKinney-Vento coordinator, who is the homeless coordinator, said that in our 5-county region, we have over 600 students who are considered homeless.
Homeless.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's everywhere. It's not just a person you might see on the street begging for something. It's our students.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
And you cannot, if you don't have your basic needs met, you can't learn. You can't.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this summer, I have spent more time reaching out to politicians to try to emphasize that those basic needs have to be met first
Mm-hmm.
because of exactly what you said. If a child is hungry, hasn't slept well, hasn't eaten, they have a very difficult time trying to learn anything. And
Mm-hmm.
yet, those politicians are some of the worst judges of what successful education is. And that can
Yeah.
be very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
tend to get on my soapbox when it comes to stuff like this because it's just, and that's part of the reason why, Brighter Together exists because people need to know, the public needs to know what's going on. And hopefully by bringing up topics like this, talking about the hard things that are happening in education. And it's not just Michigan. We know
right.
that there are other states that are experiencing in a myriad of different ways. Every state's got their own policies and how they do things. And so, I don't want people to think that Michigan is the only one or we're targeting Michigan. Michigan is, I have a son there, it's like we lived there for 19 years. So Michigan is part of my heart, will always be in Michigan. Michigan, we have family and friends and so this is not me bashing on Michigan. This is just a situation that is exacerbated by the politics that are going on instead
Mhm.
of putting these kids and these teachers and the people that are fighting every day for these kids in front of politics. We need to put our children and our schools in front of politics, and it needs to happen across the board. It really does.
Right. And there's
Yeah.
another aspect of the budget that I think legislators think they're doing something good, and they aren't necessarily understanding the complexity of our situation. And that deals with competitive grants versus categoricals. So obviously, if there's a competitive grant, not everyone gets it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
But categoricals were designed to mitigate that. So a categorical might be something like extra funding for transportation. And we are a recipient of that in the past because our district is 302 square miles.
Right.
That's one of the largest geographical districts in the state of Michigan. Not the largest, but one of the largest. Um, and if you've ever heard of Mackinac Island,
Mm-hmm.
they have a school
Beautiful.
district.
Mm-hmm.
So they either have to take boats to get on and off the island every day, or they have to fly to events.
Wow.
Imagine how much that costs.
Yeah.
So Mackinac Island and Pine River Schools are two examples of districts that benefit from a transportation categorical where we receive extra money that maybe a urban school district might not
Not
receive
need.
because they
Yeah.
don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
So the legislators had the bright idea to remove the categorical funding and just put it all in the foundation allowance, which is the per pupil amount that we get per student.
Mm-hmm.
But that takes away the equity
Right.
and gives money to districts that don't need it for that. And it takes away from districts that were given that because of particular reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been very frustrating. And superintendents, as well as MASA, the Michigan Association of Superintendent and Administrators, and MSBO, Michigan School Business Officials, we've all been working very hard over the last several months to try to educate our legislators that competitive grants and categoricals are not the same things. And categoricals were designed to help make funding more equitable for districts that have different situations like transportation.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, frustrating, absolutely frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray for schools all the time. You know, it just
Thank
is,
you.
it's just one of those things where it's just like, Lord, move somehow. We need to, and the only way we're going to get it better is exactly with what you said, is getting out there, talking about it, you know, helping to educate the public, helping to educate our legislators, being involved. Being involved is important. And
Right.
this is how I do it. You know, this is my little area of getting brighter together, is about giving these stories out, talking about the good and the bad and the ugly and the challenges. And yet you still, the whole first half of this podcast was about the amazing success and the leaders and the stuff that that your children are doing, these are our future. I've said that a million times on this podcast too. We are educating our future. We need to invest in our future, and schools are a huge part of that. And this country just needs to figure that out and stop comparing us to everybody else's. Because, you know, when we talk about test scores, you know, and it's just like, it's not apples to apples. There isn't any apples to apples with that. And, you know, other countries, especially China, you know, they're skewing their numbers. You only test the brightest, right? So it's just,
right. Whereas we have to test them all.
Test them all. Yeah. And everybody has to take the test. And yeah. So, it's just such a messed up situation. So, but okay. So Michelle, if you could, and we've talked about money, we've talked about the frustrations, but if you could fix just one thing, miraculously fix one thing in your world, what would it be? Not money.
No, it would be parenting. We have a systemic lack of parenting in our society. And that has really hurt our students. Even we're early into the school year this year, and we have had so many students, more this year than ever, that are contemplating suicide. They have not been raised with any faith. They have parents that are not present, whether it's physically or mentally or spiritually or financially. All of those areas are lacking. So it's very sad to see, and it makes me very concerned for these children who need parents. And schools do a phenomenal job at parenting, but that's not our job.
Right.
But we do it anyway because we love them.
Right.
But we need parents to be more present. We all wish we could get rid of cell phones. Parents often use them as parenting tools.
It's not a substitute for parenting, for sure.
No, they're doing more damage than help, for sure, with our students. So that if I could change anything, I would have more parent involvement with our students and with their school.
Yeah, that's a good answer. It's a good answer. So where do people go if they want to learn a little bit more about your school and about what's going on, and about Michelle Gill?
Okay. Well, we do have a website. Unfortunately, we don't have a designated person to update our website. So we have a committee who's meeting at the end of the month to work on some strategies to do that. So we're not horribly out of date. You know, some things are up to date as they're supposed to be, but I would like our website to be better than it is now. So our website at pineriver.org has a lot of information. Our school secretaries are amazing, as they are in every district. They run the
Yeah.
schools. They're super women. So anyone interested in our school can always call our school secretary and ask for more information. And as far as me, I make myself available as much as possible. Before every board meeting, I have open office hours. I can be emailed or called.
Awesome.
I'm happy to meet with anyone interested in Pine River area schools.
Awesome. Well, it has been a pleasure, Michelle, to have you on and to just talk frankly about the good things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? We've all
Yeah.
got it and we know it's out there. And I appreciate your transparency and willingness to come and talk about the amazing things that are happening at Pine River and the things that we need to do to make it better. So keep fighting the fight. I know you are. I know you will continue. So and just thank you for your time and your generosity to come and speak to
Thank you too.
the audience. Yeah.